In my opinion, Subnautica is one of the best horror games ever created, because it can scare the living hell out of you with ease. But just how does it do that? How does it make you question your every move, your every thought? And how is it more horrifying than most horror games out there? Well, today we will go over exactly that and find out the truth of how Subnautica accidentally created the best horror game ever. Now, if you've ever played Subnautica, you would know that you don't encounter any scary leviathans until later on in the game. But why is that the case? Why doesn't the game just throw a bunch of big scary fish at you from the get-go? Well, to understand that, let's see what we as a player experience at the start of the game. So, you're shot from your spaceship, and moments after that, you land on the planet, where the first thing you see is this. A body of water stretching as far as the eye can see. Alongside that, you see your only hope of escape burning into a crisp. Even these two little things combined are enough to send chills down the spine of anyone playing. Soon after that, you muster up your courage and jump into the water. You're accompanied by alien plants and fish. The shallow water slowly ease you into your playthrough. They're making you think that this isn't that bad. Sure, there's the occasional crash fish, stalker, or sand shark. But you know, there's nothing that you can handle. There's nothing that'll scare you shitless. It's seemingly peaceful and safe. And that's exactly what the game is trying to accomplish. It wants to give you a false sense of security, before it inevitably takes it away and makes you fear everything that makes a noise or moves in your peripheral vision. So that must mean now is the perfect time to scare you, right?
What is that?
Well, not yet. If we truly want to scare the player, we need to feel another extremely important criteria.
This is LifePod 3, uploading our coordinates. We're plugging some holes in our emergency sea glide, so if we're late for the rendezvous, don't panic.
After you hear this, for a brief moment, you think you're actually not alone, that you might find someone, people, help, anything. And so, you quickly set out to meet your companions. But you find something you weren't expecting. Your crewmates are nowhere to be seen. The lifepod is completely destroyed, but not by any natural forces. It was ravaged from the inside out. With this, the game has almost already wrapped you around its finger. You see, the criteria I was talking about before is implanting anxiety into the player. The game turned our hope of finding our comrades into existential dread. You're asking yourself, what caused that hole? Why are there no survivors? And is there something out there? Something big, relentless? And am I on its menu? With that, Subnautica can already scare the living shit out of you, and it would have been quite terrifying. But no, why would we scare the player now if we can use just one more small ingredient, which will cause so much fear to run down their spine, they will remember it for the rest of their lives. I'm of course talking about the reefback. This is the first leviathan you will encounter in your playthrough. Now, of course, everyone will be skeptical of it, but quickly they realize it is completely harmless. Now, you might be thinking, just how is a harmless creature supposed to scare the shit out of me? Like, isn't that completely contradictory to what you just said? Well, my comrade, it is true that it is harmless, but exactly that made you think that even if there is something big out there, it couldn't possibly be dangerous. One after another, the game has made you more and more comfortable, like a fish that is oblivious to what is about to happen next. So now we have built all of the criteria we need to scare you, but how do we get you to come and get scared? Like, it can take hours before you develop the courage to... Well, that's convenient. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, a subscribe or like would be very much appreciated. It does really help me out a ton. But besides that, let's get back to the video. And so, after the player has explored his surroundings, created a base, and made a sea-moth, it is now finally time to explore the Aurora. Surely, that's something there that can help you. As you approach it, the waters get murkier. Everything begins to go quiet. You hear metallic noises coming from the Aurora. Enveloped by your curiosity, you keep pushing forward. In that moment, the game just went from fun and beautiful to absolutely horrifying. Now you know there's something out there, something relentless, a creature of gigantic proportions, which cannot be defeated by your puny hands. From now onward, when you stare into the base will stare back at you with a constant threat of death. Well done! We have successfully scared the living shit out of the player. So, what now? Do we throw hundreds of leviathans in their path? Do we jump scare them with every opportunity we get? What can we do to scare them more and more? Well, more leviathans is sadly not the answer. If that were the case, there would be at least 200 of them over the whole map. But strangely, there's only a handful of them clumped up into specific biomes. Or to be more precise, over 90% of the map is Leviathan free. So just how do less Leviathans mean more horror? How is the absence of scariness sending your brain into overdrive? Well, let's look at it from the point of view of the player. Your whole world was just shattered in front of your eyes. You encountered a creature of pure horror. And the calm and shallow waters are turning deeper, more eerie looking the further you go from your life pod. The same shift happens with the music, from calm, welcoming and collected to this. A pure nightmare-inducing soundtrack. Almost as if it's letting you know that you should not be messing around with anything. Leave while you still have the chance. You have all of this coupled with the fact that every life pod you came across was absolutely destroyed. There were no survivors anywhere, only remnants of their final moments.
Return me.
The more the player explores, the faster their thoughts rush. What will happen? What is out there? Am I being hunted? Are there more beasts out there? In simple words, the game utilized our own brain against us. Instead of bombarding the player with thousands of digital creatures, it rather used paranoia. Our own minds can come up with far more scarier things than a game ever can. And this is the exact thing that differentiates Subnautica from other horror games. Subnautica prioritizes scaring you as little as possible, so you have no idea when to expect the next jump scare.
I ran out of battery now!
In doing so, your brain has time to come up with the most horrifying of thoughts. But on the other hand, most horror games usually use a lot of jump scares, which is horrifying in the moment. But after they've used it multiple times, you just get desensitized to it, and it isn't as scary as it once was because your mind already knows what to expect. But now we got another problem. If the player is scared shitless, they won't want to explore, or they'll be way too cautious to do so. And while up until now they've literally had no hope of escape, they've just been following their curiosity and PDA entries. So there's no reason to risk their lives for nothing in return. Well, here the game pulls another big brain move.
Aurora, this is Sunbeam again. We just picked up a massive debris field at your location. We're gonna bring you home. Sunbeam out.
Positions, everyone. Touching down in 10, 9, 8.
It's coming from the building?
Change course. Set thrusters to full.
Well then, this has given our player hope once more, but this time it was ruthlessly shattered in front of their eyes. By doing this, the game has let us know that we have absolutely no way of being saved. So the only way we can get off this planet is on our own. But just how in hell do we do that? It's not like someone will call us and tell us everything we need to do.
This is Altera HQ. We can't send a rescue ship all the way out there, so Aurora, you're just gonna have to meet us halfway. We've uploaded blueprints to the ship's computer.
With that, we have been given a clear goal on what we need to do. This will provide us with just enough motivation to face our fears and go into deeper and darker biomes in search of answers, materials, and a cure for our virus. As you go deeper, the creatures become far more eerie looking, simulating the difference in pressure, the same as on our planet. They take on stranger shapes and become even more aggressive. The tension is building the deeper you go, every sound, every movement, it could all be a threat. Who knows, even the plants could kill you at this point. Despite that, you swallow your fears and keep pushing forward. You need answers, but the only thing you can find are more questions. Eventually, you make it to the last river, where you're engulfed by pure dread. You find a skeleton of gigantic proportions, the gargantuan Leviathan. This puts your mind into complete disarray, because the only thing it can think about is where this creature is. How can something of this size even exist? And is it out there, waiting for me in the endless void of the ocean? Up until now, the game has meticulously designed every single situation in order for you to feel as anxious and paranoid as possible. And in a few moments, it'll put all of that to use by showing you that there's something bigger than the Reaper out there. A creature of outstanding size, and one that even feasts on the Reapers itself. A creature with such a relentless roar, it sends chills down the spine of any mortal foolish enough to come into its domain. When I first played the game, this was one of the most terrifying things I ever saw, and rightfully so. The game knew it could scare you 100 times more if it gradually built up the tension and only exposed you to a handful of Leviathans. In doing so, it used our own minds against us. It made us fear the unknown. So, when the rare moment actually occurred, when you found a Leviathan, all of the fear you've built up comes rushing in, all at once. In simple words, Subnautica doesn't just work because of its execution, it works because it cracked our very biology. Humans were never meant to survive in the ocean. It is a hostile environment that would have absolutely destroyed us in mere seconds. And if we couple that with the fear of darkness, endless voids, monsters, unstoppable destruction, pure powerlessness in the face of danger, and the fear of the unknown, well then, you get a pure terror-inducing nightmare that will haunt you for the rest of your life.